Hello everybody. I'm really happy that I have this nice opportunity to be part of this wonderful conference and give the opening talk as well, which is about the topic that I truly care about. This is the topic of applied NLP SEO. My name is Emilija, or you can call me Emma, but before we dive deeper into this topic, I want to give a short overview about who I am and what I do. I'm a graduated computer science engineer, and I had that opportunity to work as a technical SEO engineer in the past 3 years, luckily for me. I have a mixed background in IT, but also marketing, product development, writing, and research, which up until now really gave me an opportunity to see things from different perspectives, as well as propose creative solutions to problems, as you are going to see during this presentation. So, who can benefit out of this talk the most? No matter whether it comes to this presentation or learning in general, I do believe in people who want to understand how things work behind the scenes and use this knowledge to pursue growth, but also people who are able to adapt and eager to develop the skill of seeing a bit longer in the future. What do I mean by that? I refer to people who want to understand current trends, identify current trends, and use this knowledge in order to plan for the future. But probably those who are going to benefit mostly out of this talk are the people who are familiar with NLP and know about some use of it in the SEO world. My strategies help grow businesses, I can tell you that for sure, because I worked with structured data automation, content SEO, technical SEO, of course, focusing on Python, especially in NLP and machine learning strategies in the past 1.5 years, or probably 2. And I really believe that if you've read about using NLP in SEO, or probably you follow these SEO threads on Twitter, where you can read there are a lot of interesting articles related to the topic, as well as search engine journals articles. I'm sure that you know about one of the following ways to use NLP in SEO, and those are text preprocessing for text cleaning, removing characters, stemming, lemmatization. Those are really some basic approaches in NLP, but maybe some of you already have a bit more advanced knowledge. Maybe you use word vectors. Maybe you know about word2vec and glove. I'm sure that everybody here knows about the bird fluff. Maybe some of you are already NLP practitioners, and you use NLP to map your old URLs to new ones while doing a website migration by using the concept of semantic similarity. Or maybe, let's say, you can be more on the content side of things and implement entity optimization by using Google NLP Cloud. No matter what your background is, I'm sure that you're going to find something interesting here. Out of this presentation, you're going to learn at least one new thing, or maybe you use natural language generation to generate meta description and content for team pages on scale. So I want to go a bit beyond this and give you a bit different perspective on how you can use NLP in SEO. Generally, I want to say that you should use NLP to scale your problem solving, not just for the sake of geekiness. Use NLP to solve problems, and because you understand its importance, not just because you've seen that somebody else is doing it or so. Because I do believe in the power of IT to enhance SEO. NLP SEO is tightly related to technical SEO, and technical SEO nowadays is not just indexing, rendering, and crawling. It's also about automation. It's also about scaling efforts when it comes to link building, content optimization, anything you can think of. Technical SEO is more than that, and NLP SEO is tightly related to this. So, if I was asked to summarize my talk somehow and organize it around a certain topic and certain concepts, it will be definitely about the concept of semantic SEO and using entities and using links and URIs to define the relationships in order to gain an authority about a certain topic, or maybe use of phrases and ontology, RDF, RDFS. All of these are really important topics, and I do encourage you to search for them independently and learn a bit more. So I worked on an agency side in the past 2 years, but also as an independent consultant, I had an opportunity to work with different agencies. And according to my experience, I believe that big platforms are a bit privileged when it comes to NLP SEO. Why so? Because NLP SEO, as I said, is related to technical SEO. And when you have a large platform, you have thousands or maybe millions of URLs. And as time passes, technical side of things tends to gain more importance over time. Well, when it comes to the content side of things, it tends to lose importance because you don't have this privilege to think about on-page optimization that much, improving meta description, rewriting. You don't have that privilege when you're working with a large platform. However, most of the businesses that are out there are really small businesses and have small business owners. So in other words, that means that they have small blogs where they publish 3 up to 5 articles on a monthly level, and they cannot afford to think about scaling technical SEO. They have really limited budget and limited content. So the real question here is how to make NLP SEO attractive for small businesses that have limited resources. It's not just content, it's also limited budget, because you cannot come and tell them, okay, we're going to hire an independent SEO team that is going to care about link building, then another SEO team that is going to care about content writing. It's not such a situation, it's completely different than that. So how to make NLP SEO attractive for small businesses with limited resources? That is possible to achieve if we define priorities, or actually we tend to find this so-called sweet spot that is represented by the green line that is shown on the screen. This green line is somewhere between the technical and the content side of things. So what I try to achieve here, what I try to point out here is that we are going to increase the number of content articles over time, but also increase the technical relevance over time. So both technical and content side of things is going to stay and increase in importance over time. None is going to lose. This is possible if you use NLP to organize your content, or you use NLP in SEO to explain your content better. So I'll explain how. This is one case study that I had from practice. So during the past year, I had multiple scenarios where I needed to work on a website or architecture of a certain site. The first case was somewhere around a year ago, when we had this small business owner that had a small blog with around, I think it was 150 plus pages. So the first idea about improving the SEO performance was to work on the site architecture, as I explained. And that means that we needed to take the content out of this blog and organize it into topics, into content groups, into topic clusters. So for example, if you have a marketing blog, and let's say you write about social media on one part, that is going to be, for example, one topic. Then you have content marketing, that is going to be a second topic, main topic. Then you have another, let's say, blog article about email marketing. Those are really just the main topics, and they can have subtopics. So if you do the math, and if you know that on an agency side, you rarely have this privilege to work only with one client on a monthly level, and usually you work with between 3 up to 5 clients per month, out of 25 working days, you will, if you do the math, you will get that you have essentially 5 working days that you can dedicate per single client. And if you if you approach categorization manually, then you're going to spend most of your time just categorizing things. You're not even going to be able to do any improvement, any implementation that can improve the SEO performance, and let's not even talk about seeing some results out of this work. As you can see, this results in a lot of wasted time, in a lot of inefficiency. This is not really the way to go. So one example of using NLP to solve this problem is actually probably using the concept of semantic similarity, as well as the concept of word vectors. And let's say the easiest thing would be to use pre-trained word embeddings in order to and combine all of these things to determine article similarity. So if you have a blog that has 150 plus articles, then you're going to take one article, analyze it, compare it, whether it's semantically similar to the rest of the articles that are present in the corpus of documents or blog articles, and then define the groups based on this similarities. This is way more efficient, because this way, by using the concept of semantic similarity, pre-trained word vectors, and word embeddings, you're giving the whole work to the computer to solve everything, and basically freeing yourself to be able to solve different types of SEO challenges. And also, people are really prone to error because they cannot see really the whole underlying semantics, such as algorithms can see. So it's a way better approach towards solving this type of problem. So I hope that I got your interest, and that you probably think, okay, but is this everything that you can teach me about NLP SEO? Is this everything that I can do? No, of course not. But let's go back into the time when the World Wide Web was created, when Tim Berners-Lee, the founder of VVV, founded VVV at CERN, and remind ourselves of what happened back then. Luckily for me, I had this opportunity to visit CERN last year in 2019, and I must admit that this visit really impacted my work as an SEO and how I think about solving SEO challenges. So Tim Berners-Lee had this 5-star rating system, which says that if you make your stuff available on the web in whatever format, then you qualify for 1 star. But if you use URLs to identify things so that people can point at your stuff, or you link your data to other people's data to provide context, then you qualify for having 4 stars or maybe 5 stars according to this Tim Berners-Lee system. So the real question again is, how can we use this knowledge in order to help search engines understand our content, and how to use this knowledge and facts to help search engines understand our topics, our concepts, and how can we use this knowledge to adapt to searchers' intent. So I'm sure that you remember this slide from previous, that we can find this so-called sweet spot that is between the technical and the content side of things, while we are keeping and increasing the importance of technical and content over time by using NLP to organize and explain our content better. I gave one example of how you can use NLP to organize your content better. Now let's see how we can use NLP to explain ourselves better to search engines. So if you have this paragraph that is shown on the screen, this paragraph, as well as any type of content, is rich of entities. I'm sure that everybody here is familiar with the concept of entities, and an entity can be, just for reminding you, a person, an organization, an event. It can be a product, location, abstract object. So if you have the following paragraph that is shown on the screen, Google can be one example of an organization. Then Consumer Electronics Show can be an event, for example, or locations such as Mountain View. Sundar Pichai can be a person. You get the point. So we are going to use this knowledge about entities. We know what entities are and how they, what's the point of using entities. And we can combine this with the concept of knowledge graphs and using IDs in order to refer to entities and form relationships between themselves, which essentially was, of course, the idea of Tim Berners-Lee and this 4-star and 5-star, achieving to get 4-star and 5-star according to his system. So if you combine both of these approaches, then we are entering semantic enrichment. We can enrich our content semantically so that search engines can understand the meaning of our content better. In the past 2 months, I was focused on developing this app that I call Semantic Enrichment app, which is still in the beta version, that I'm using for converting unstructured data such as text to structured data such as JSON LD by using linked data principles. For now, it's not available for public use or user use because we are still testing it, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to provide your URL here in the field, then you're going to provide the title, then provide the content that is relevant to you. And this way is really handy because you don't need to take care about different CSS selectors in order to extract content, especially if you're dealing with different type of platforms. We also have a summarization part. We are still discussing whether it's good for the users to provide this summarized part of their content, or we are going to be the ones who are going to do the summarization automatically. And once you provide all of this information to us, once we hit process data, then what we do behind the scenes is detect all the entities, determine their entity types, match their entity types to schema.org entity types, and link them to a certain knowledge. It can be a knowledge repository, such as Wikipedia, or it can be a knowledge base, such as Wikipedia, or something like that. And this way, we are actually providing context to search engines. The final output is a structured data, like the one shown on the screen, where we are using the web page type schema, and using the abstract attribute, which is taken from the schema.org documentation, that is used to provide a summarization of the content of the article that is provided to us, as well as using the mentions attribute that we're using to list all the detected entities and their links to the Wikipedia pages. So this way, we are providing more context to search engines, as I explained. I'm proud to share that I worked with multiple SEO professionals to test this concept on 3 continents, covering 8+ industries on 3+ platforms, and some results are the following. This is one website that we had. So basically, we follow this procedure for around 3 up to 4 weeks. We managed to increase around 150 or maybe 200% the performance of total impressions that we had, even though we've noticed that the average position tends to fall over time, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we tend to lose importance for completely irrelevant search queries, but gain importance over a small group of really targeted relevant search queries. The second site, I think it was something that is Shopify based. So we managed to increase the total impressions over time. As you can see, it's increasing here at around, I think it's 50%, and it's growing. The third site was something that we had at the beginning of the experiment. So it was an improvement of around 100%. But however, we are still in the testing period. So if you want to participate, please message me on LinkedIn. And please note that this is not limited to English, especially if you are dealing with, if you're German, come from Austria, Switzerland, or Germany, or you're using the German language, you're really welcome to come and participate in this experiment, because we are still in the testing period. So these concepts are really not new. I mean, NLP SEO, machine learning SEO, knowledge graphs, these concepts are not new. We know about them in the IT world with decades. If you go back to the time when Karen Sprague-Jones invented the concept of TF-IDF, or maybe the golden era of information retrieval, that was somewhere between 1950s and 1990s, you will see that a lot of time passed since then. And we moved from basic keyword search and using inverted index and TF-IDF towards using taxonomies and entity recognitions. Some SEOs are already in this phase, but not all of them. We should move towards query intent, where we are going to use semantic knowledge graphs and clustering and classification. I already show you one example of clustering in order to define the topic clusters that are relevant and present on client's blog, towards automated relevancy tuning, and up until to self-learning. If you take these independent terms like NLP SEO, machine learning SEO, Python SEO, technical SEO, and advanced SEO, and you put them into Google Trends, you will see that up from 2004 and up until today, only technical SEO is rising in the past years. So NLP SEO and machine learning SEO are really not gaining the appropriate attention. They are really close to the x-axis. Python SEO is slowly growing over time. Technical SEO grows a lot in the past years, as I said, but advanced SEO not that much. If you try to make a breakdown, of course, this is on a worldwide level. If you try to make a breakdown by region, you will see that the only country that cares about this concept, actually, the concept of machine learning SEO is India, but that's it. There's no other country that covers this concept. And when it comes to NLP SEO, there are not enough searches worldwide in any country in order to be shown in the region breakdown. So this is really concerning, because even in our best case, we are somehow around 30 plus years behind. We are falling 30 plus years back. So my advice would be to don't wait. Tend to understand how things work and use this knowledge to pursue growth, because this is how you identify trends, and this is how this is really the future, because everything is going in that direction. I hope that you enjoyed my talk, and if you like my presentation, please feel free to get in touch, and let's connect on LinkedIn. Thank you.